Welcome back to Old Charles, the channel where we explore rare and historic coins from around the world. In today's video, we're going deep into the fascinating story of a United Kingdom 2 shilling coin from 1949 ***. We'll talk about its history, design details, silver content, circulation, and most importantly, its current value for collectors today. So if you love coin collecting or want to learn the hidden worth behind old coins, stay with me until the end. The 2 shilling coin, also known as the Florin, was first introduced in 1849 during the reign of Queen Victoria. It was originally created as part of an experiment to move Britain toward a decimal currency system. At that time, 2 shillings were worth 1/10 of a pound sterling, which made it an easy calculation for trade to by 1949. Britain was recovering from World War II, and the economy was under pressure. Silver was becoming too expensive to use in everyday coins. Up until 1946, 2 shilling coins contained 50% silver, but in 1947, the Royal Mint stopped using silver entirely. The 1949 issue was made of a copper-nickel alloy, meaning no silver content at all. This made the 1949 2 shilling coin one of the early examples of post-silver British coinage. The coin was widely used across the United Kingdom and remained in circulation until decimalization in 1971, when the currency system changed to pounds and pence. Let's take a closer look at the design. The front features the portrait of King George VI, who ruled the United Kingdom from 1936 until 1952. Around his portrait, the legend reads, George of 6 DGBR Rex, which translates to George VI, by the grace of God, King of all the Britons. The reverse design showcases a beautiful Tudor rose, surrounded by a thistle, shamrock, and leek, representing the 4 nations of the United Kingdom, England, Scotland, Ireland, and Wales. Around the edge it reads, FID Def 2 shillings, 1949. The abbreviation FID Def stands for Fidei Defensor, meaning defender of the faith. This design highlights the unity of the UK and carries strong national symbolism, which is why many collectors admire the artistry of this coin. Now, let's answer the most important question. What is the coin worth today? The value of a 1949 UK 2 shilling coin depends heavily on its condition, rarity, and demand among collectors. Since millions were minted, it is not considered a rare coin in circulated condition. However, high-grade coins or uncirculated examples can fetch a much higher price. In well-used condition, these coins are worth around £1 to £2 in the UK market, or around $2 to $3 USD internationally. If the details are still clear and there is less wear, the value rises to about £3 to £5 coins with sharp details. Only minor signs of wear and attractive surfaces can be worth around £8 to £12. And if you're lucky enough to find a coin that was never used in circulation, it could be worth £15 to £25 or more. Depending on the buyer, it's important to note that the 1949 issue doesn't contain silver, so its value is entirely numismatic, meaning collectors value it for history and rarity, not for metal content. The condition of a coin is absolutely key in determining its value. Collectors use a grading scale that ranges from good for well-worn coins all the way up to mint state for uncirculated pieces. When examining your 1949 2 shilling coin, check for wear on King George VI's portrait, clarity of the lettering around the edge, the detail on the Tudor rose and surrounding plants, any scratches, marks, or discoloration. Coins that still have their original shine or luster are always more desirable to collectors, because the 1949 2 shilling coin was heavily circulated in everyday trade. Most surviving examples are found in average condition. That's why collectors are always on the lookout for higher grade examples. Even though the 1949 Florin is not extremely rare or valuable compared to older silver coins, it holds great historical importance. It represents Britain's post-war shift away from silver coinage, the enduring reign of King George VI, and the lead-up to Queen Elizabeth II's long era. For many collectors, it's an affordable way to own a piece of British history, and it makes a wonderful addition to any pre-decimal coin collection. So there you have it, the complete story of a United Kingdom 2 shilling coin from 1949. From its origins in the 19th century to its copper-nickel composition and its collector's value today, This coin is a true window into Britain's past. The story of the 2 shilling coin goes back much further than 1949. To understand its value, we need to look at how this coin came to exist and why it remained such an important part of British money for over a century. The very first 2 shilling coin was introduced in 1849 during the reign of Queen Victoria. At the time, Britain still used the traditional pounds, shillings, and pence system, where 1 pound was made up of 20 shillings and 1 shilling equaled 12 pence. This was a very complicated system, especially for trade. The idea behind the new 2 shilling coin, also called the florin, was to experiment with decimalization. Why? Because 2 shillings was exactly 1/10 of a pound. If the country adopted decimal currency in the future, this coin would already fit perfectly into that system. The 1849 issue became known as the godless florin because it left out the traditional phrase Dei gratia, by the grace of God, in the inscription. Many saw this as controversial, and future designs added the phrase back. Over time, the florin became a regular part of British coinage. It was produced continuously under every monarch after Queen Victoria, King Edward VII, King George V, King George VI, and finally Queen Elizabeth II, during its long life. The 2 shilling coin was struck in different metals. Early issues were made of 92.5% sterling silver, up until 1919. From 1920 to 1946, they were reduced to 50% silver from 1947 onwards, due to rising costs after World War II. The coin was made from copper nickel with no silver at all. This metal change is very important when we talk about the 1949 2 shilling coin, because it belongs to the first few years of the no-silver era. The 1949 2 shilling coin was minted under King George VI, who had taken the throne after his brother Edward VIII abdicated in 1936. George VI was king during World War II, and by 1949, Britain was still recovering from the war's devastation. Because of financial pressures and the need to save precious metals, silver was eliminated from British coins in 1947. This means the 1949 2 shilling coin was struck entirely in copper nickel. Unlike earlier coins, it had no bullion value. Its worth was purely based on its role as money, but despite lacking silver, the florin kept its important place in circulation. It was used every day by the British public for nearly all types of transactions. At 2 shillings, it was considered a fairly large value coin, equivalent to 24 old pence. The reverse design of the 1949 issue is a great reflection of post-war Britain. It features the Tudor rose at the center, surrounded by national emblems: the thistle for Scotland, the shamrock for Ireland, and the leek for Wales. Together, these plants symbolize the unity of the United Kingdom under one crown. This design was not just decoration. It was a statement of national pride and resilience during a difficult recovery period. The 2 shilling coin continued in use throughout the 1950s and 1960s. When the UK officially moved to decimal currency in 1971, many older coins were withdrawn. But interestingly, the 2 shilling coin survived the change. It was simply revalued as 10 new pence. That means people could still use their 1949 2 shilling coin even after decimalization. It circulated as legal tender all the way until 1993, when the smaller 10p coin replaced it for good. When we hold a 1949 2 shilling coin today, we are holding a piece of a much bigger story. It links back to the Victorian experiment with decimalization in 1849. It reflects the post-war struggle of Britain in 1949, when silver was too expensive to use. And it represents the final decades of pre-decimal money, which shaped the everyday lives of millions of people in the UK. Even though it isn't made of silver, its historical importance makes it a fascinating collectible. The 1949 2 shilling coin reminds us of a time of resilience, transition, and unity in the history of Britain's currency. When it comes to coin collecting, condition is everything. 2 coins from the same year and mint can have completely different values depending on how well they've been preserved over the years. The 1949 2 shilling coin is no exception. The 1949 2 shilling coin was a heavily circulated coin, used daily in Britain for shopping, wages, and trade. Because millions of people handled these coins, most examples today show noticeable signs of wear. Collectors place the highest value on coins that remain close to their original mint state. To determine this, Experts use a grading system that classifies coins based on their condition, from well-worn to pristine. Let's break it down. The more a coin was used in everyday transactions, the more it suffered from scratches, nicks, and edge wear. Coins kept loose in drawers or jars often develop scratches and dull surfaces, while those stored in albums or cases maintain their sharpness. Humidity, heat, and chemicals can cause discoloration, tarnishing, or corrosion. One of the biggest mistakes collectors make is cleaning old coins. Even though it might make the coin look shiny, cleaning actually damages the surface and reduces its collector value. The 1949 2 shilling coin is not rare in itself, but condition makes all the difference. A worn example might only be worth £1 or £2, but a high-grade, uncirculated coin can be worth over 10 times as much. For collectors, the challenge lies in finding well-preserved coins that have survived more than 70 years without losing their beauty.